We are live. It's been over a month, man. Summer has just flown past. Had such a fun time doing those prediction streams with you, Anthony, for the Acolyte. And now, I mean, we don't have any shows to discuss, but we've got, well, that's not entirely a show. We don't have current shows to discuss, but we get the fun part, the speculation that comes with it, the discussion. We just had D23. I guess it's been a solid, what, a full week ago now, at least. But
yeah.
But I wanted to give kind of my thoughts and include Anthony with this. How have you been though, Anthony? It's been a little bit.
I've been well. How about you, man?
been very very busy, man. Very busy, but yeah, staying busy. Yeah. So for a little bit of reference, my sister actually got married last week, so I wasn't actively covering D23. I was still like keeping in touch, but and I might lean on Anthony a little bit more here on kind of going through everything that's there. But maybe that's where we should start. What was, I guess, all the things that were announced? Obviously, we got the Skeleton Crew trailer, which we both watched, which we're gonna break down here in a little bit. So stay in tune. But what else was there?
There was there was early trailers for Andor season 2, which was different from Star Wars Celebration. There was the Mando and Grogu teaser trailer, which I don't even know how they have that ready yet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's really all I can remember. They didn't have anything for animation, so there's no animated projects that were added to anything. So unless they just drop Tales of the Empire like they did that one time on us, like just show up something. But doesn't seem like anything's really prepared for that side of things, and that's about it. Just mostly stuff for the next like year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm. Did they say anything specifically on the Lego show?
I don't believe so. I'm not fully sure though. I don't.
But I think they dropped a different trailer though. Right? I think I may have saw something. But
yeah, they dropped a different.
I'm sure
trailer,
they didn't
right.
take.
Yeah.
They probably didn't take like on stage time. Maybe. I mean, it's a fun project, but I don't know if it warrant the same amount of talking points as like a movie or Andor season 2 or Skeleton Crew. But yeah, so what's up? Take a break, mate. I'm thinking maybe I've got the trailer kind of ready. It's been a little bit. I watched it once when I was a little bit tired when I woke up, I think after like the wedding night, so I don't know if I had the best experience watching it as far as like I don't think I was visually or like fully there. So I'm gonna share screen and let's kind of go through it. Maybe watch it once and then kind of come back to it and then maybe pause on some parts if that sounds cool.
Yeah, sounds great.
Right, sweet. So I'm gonna switch cams here. Hold on, hang in there for me, guys. And shall with this right here and make it full screen. Okay, can you see?
I can see.
All right.
Tomorrow's test will set the course of your entire future.
Don't you ever want to do anything exciting? Like what? What if we could go anywhere we want in the whole galaxy? A real adventure. No more pretend. I found something buried in the woods. What do you think it is?
I think it's a lost Jedi temple.
Hello? Be careful where you step. We're lost. Really lost.
Tis dangerous out there in space. Trust no one.
You're a Jedi.
Okay. So this looks fun. It definitely looks different. I'm just now realizing that viewers cannot see us, so I basically just played the trailer. Wonder if I can fix that. I'm not entirely sure. We don't have to spend a ton of time here, but I just want to kind of pause at a couple moments of interest. But I'd say the aesthetic thing that stuck out to me first, it almost felt like a little bit kind of like Stranger Things vibes ish,
Yeah.
kind of with this more, this show, correct me if I'm wrong, is probably more for kids. I mean, obviously, Star Wars in general is for kids, but like, I mean, there's the main characters are kids, it appears, right?
Yeah, it's more focused, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of get just kind of everyday life, because that's a big question. We're always focused on the Jedi, Sith, and kind of important government leaders within just the Star Wars universe and the Republic and whatnot. But what does the average Joe kind of look like? So it'd be interesting. I will say the similarities between real life are almost uncanny in the shot, but still fun. We get Star Wars test. I mean, we saw some schooling in the Mandalorian, but this looks like a bit bigger scale, like a bigger planet.
Yeah, it looks like a proper school, a real community there.
Yeah. And what do you like? Saying this test will impact their entire future? Like this, would that mean kind of like just I guess it maybe would determine what their kind of like job or education would be? I don't know. I think it's
and it could very well be like what teachers said to you in middle school, where it's like, oh well, if you get a demerit, that's going to be on your public record when you're an adult. It's like, well, maybe it won't, probably won't, but
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a little early to just have something figured out. I don't have life figured out.
Yeah, it's probably just one of those things that's more directed at
Yeah, I hear you. It does
I'm
look.
not gonna lie, actually. What's that? Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna lie. I actually really kind of dig the urban like kind of aesthetics.
Yeah,
Like,
it looks
big universe.
pretty dang high budget, honestly. Too. Just from these shots, it looks like we're gonna get some really good videography. Like this looks.
Yeah.
I mean, this shot looks nice. I'm curious what planet this ends up being. Again, the urban aesthetic is cool, but man, this looks so similar to real life. But that's not necessarily a problem, because it's still got the elements that like what we're talking about. I see lightsaber. I'm good.
I bet you that's like Luke. At like the kid at the end of Last Jedi, that kind of reminds me of that. Like a kid like thinking about like Luke and wanting to grow up to be like him. I bet you that's Luke right there.
Yeah, and this may be like I don't know necessarily the Rancor, but a different other adventure.
Yeah, some kind of adventure that people heard about and that people are like, "Whoa, did you hear about what Luke Skywalker did?"
Yeah, right. Because this takes place in the Mandoverse, but we don't know exactly when, right?
Yeah, I don't think we have a specific time. We know it's New Republic era though.
Okay, yeah. I refer to that usually as Mandoverse, but yeah, New Republic is the proper timeline, right?
No more pretend.
Correct. Yeah, that's the one.
I found something buried in the woods.
Yeah, see, like this, even like that. I mean, obviously different actors, but it really gives me Stranger Things vibes for like this kind of like there's a mystery we don't really exactly know.
I think it's a lost Jedi temple.
That's that. Imagine it's just kind of like a cave. Like, oh, that's pretty bold guess. No.
I love it.
Yeah.
Kind of some Goonies vibes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm not as familiar with the Goonies. I was hearing that though, especially Stay on Target. They're saying that. But can you remind me what are the Goonies? Or maybe I should just do a Google search.
It's a bunch of kids that find like a pirate ship. I think I've seen like that one.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen this. It's been a while. It's been a while though.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I'm just so bad with names sometimes.
Oh no, you're good. I
Um,
get it.
yeah. What's up, Jeff? I, see, so well, I kind of just want to. We'll finish it, but
For a long
I
really long.
I really do like the even if it's just from the trailer, I like that what they're kind of leaning towards with the mystery and like kind of like the fun and the exploring, because that really does kind of uh knock home just the elements I'm kind of looking for when I'm just watching Star Wars, you know, in general. Obviously this looks new and fun, but for example, for like Andor season 1 per se, which I know it's good. It's not, but it wasn't my favorite because it didn't hit some of those kind of mystery. It was more serious in tone. I mean, it's fun. We get different projects, but in any case, like even if this show is directed more towards kids, it might capture some things I've kind of been maybe missing a little bit more lately. I'm just kind of like more nostalgic kind of Star Wars, kind of a fun adventure feel almost.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Here in space. Trust no one.
I love that little owl.
Yeah. Was that that droid? We got like for half a second. Yeah, that was nice. Was that a medical droid? I forget. This looks very similar to a droid we've seen.
Kind of looks like K2SO, but like maybe an earlier prototype of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a bounty hunting drone, I think.
Okay. Yeah, curious what part of the galaxy a lot of this will take place. But oh, wait, was it X-wings right there? Or?
Yeah, got
So-
some X-wings.
New Republic X-wings. Okay. So I think the other question too is like, how much will this kind of story play into the, I guess, larger story as far as like the Mandoverse with I mean what we probably I'm gonna switch screens quick so people can actually see us. Okay. Turn this off 1 second. Okay. All right, we're good. We're back. But yeah, I'm curious. Like, looks like a fun adventure, and it takes place during a time where we have a lot of different content going on. I'm curious how much this show will end up relating at all, or I'm sure, like we just saw the X-wing, so like maybe it would be like, okay, we see stuff that's going on that's similar, or will this story maybe be like a bolder prediction is like, does this story towards the end of it, does it unlock maybe a bigger picture of what like the true maybe adversary will be later on for just the whole Mandoverse and New Republic kind of story in general? Like obviously we have Thrawn and like that's going to be a big thing, but if there's a bigger story at large going on there potentially.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. I kind of hope that it kind of sits by itself and its like little own kind of corner, truthfully. Because it is a big galaxy, and I think it'd be
Mhm.
kind of cool. Like I think like the captain, the X-wing pilot from Mando, I could see him being in this show. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But like I think overall, I think it'd be cooler to kind of separate the story, maybe show hints of it, like maybe you see like an Imperial destroyer or like an Imperial officer out in the background just to show that they're present, but like not make it
Mhm.
like a focal point of the story, perhaps.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I hear you.
I kind of I kind of like the like kind of similar to Acolyte. I kind of like things that kind of sit in their own like little space,
Mhm.
because like so much of what we have has to tie into something. Like
Yeah.
the Mandoverse ties directly into like the corresponding shows, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka. They all tie into each other, which is
Mhm.
cool. But like it's kind of fun getting something that's separated from the rest of the galaxy to tell like its own story.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily limited on what it can do also, and yeah, that's why we were so excited for the Acolyte. I think it's still obviously, you know, since I mean it ultimately it is happening in a similar timeline, we'd probably expect some similarities, but it's just a matter of, all right, is it just like there in the background or is it a direct tie-in? So I'm just curious what direction they go, because I would agree that this certainly would be a show that it would make more sense to kind of sit off on its own. Maybe it advances a couple key points or sets a couple things in motion for other projects. But if that's not its main focus, then it could really stand out on its own. Yeah, this really could be something like it seems fresh at the same time, but captures elements of like I don't know, almost nostalgic elements within Star Wars for me personally, just off the trailer. So it could be really, really special. I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that it really does kind of like stay unique, but also have some of that nostalgic touch to it, just to keep it, obviously keep it within universe. But yeah, I think a standalone story would be fitting. I'm not saying it would be bad if it wasn't, but I kind of do hope that it sits by itself. And you could even like if it does well, then you could have sequel stories that kind of come out for like season 2, season 3 type of stuff, like they did with Stranger Things. But
Yeah, yeah, for
definitely
sure.
kind of hope it sits a little isolated, but not too isolated. Because like
Mhm.
I don't want it to feel like it has to rely on like, for example, the Ahsoka show or Mando show. Because like I've noticed that a lot of people seem kind of turned off by like having to do homework, and I'm saying homework with
Mhm.
quotations because if
Yeah,
you're not like super into it like we are, then it might feel like homework. So I think
yeah.
having something that's not directly connected to like
Mhm.
Ahsoka or what will become Heir to the Empire, or whatever. Like I think that will do general audiences better, but also kind of keep it fresh for people that are more involved.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that approach in general is usually a good idea because I would agree too. Like, I mean, with Book of Boba Fett, like for someone like I'm gonna watch it regardless. But for some people, they never saw Book of Boba Fett because it's like they're only Mandalorian fans. So they came into Mandalorian season 3 and were a bit confused because they didn't realize that they need to kind of follow that. At the same time, for us kind of more nerdy fans, um, maybe with small payoffs is a decent compromise of like, oh, okay, that is Captain. Oh gosh, what is his name?
I can't remember.
This is bad. New Republic Captain Mandalorian, uh, uh, Captain Carson Tava. Okay,
Ava.
you've used him in I used him in a what if story and don't even don't even know. But it would be cool to see him and and yeah, it wouldn't necessarily need to lean heavily or yeah, even just the references of like, oh, did you hear, Luke is doing so and so, like you're saying with that kind of story, whatever. Like that could be enough in its own to then, all right, now let's kind of just do our own thing and kind of kick ass in our own way that doesn't have to necessarily rely on the whole Ahsoka versus Thrawn dealio.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that I think that just gives you so much more potential, and it kind of feeds off, like I said earlier, what you saw at the end of Last Jedi with that kid holding the broomstick. It's like the legend of these Jedi, especially Luke, from the OT to the ST. Like he is like a consistent legend for people around the galaxy, and so like just name dropping is a poor way to word it, but like name dropping him as a motivation for some of these kids, like I want to be like Luke Skywalker. And
Mhm.
obviously, we outside the universe know, like, oh, well, you have to be force sensitive and like have a high midichlorian count, all that stuff. But to these kids, it's like, I want to go on a great adventure and be a hero, and that's
Yeah.
what they're seeing as like. So I think that motivation or name drop would be like really kind of cool for progressing the story without having to directly tie into Luke's Jedi Order or Ben Solo or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, that could be a fun element, and ultimately, yeah, too, could be so valuable, and they could reach a larger audience and get like a lot of newer fans with a show like that if it's done, really well too. So it's exciting to see what the possibilities are for that. And yeah, I think out of all the shows that have been announced in that that now we're seeing, we had that stream at the beginning of the year, like, all right, what's going on, what shows are we getting, and that kind of thing, and it looks like we are getting um yeah, we did get we are getting 4 shows. We put like the 4 shows that were they said they would do at the beginning of the year. We were talking about that we had no trailers at the time. It looks like they did get it all done. So props to them on keeping up to that schedule, because I mean it's not an easy thing to do. and also it's good for us. But
Oh, yeah.
it's still a while though. I feel like between projects here, between this third and fourth one of the year. I mean, we got till December, so it's gonna be a lot of speculation in between there. And I had a different point, but now I'm forgetting. Do you have anything to say?
No, I think this is the longest gap between shows since probably Kenobi and whatever came after Kenobi. I can't remember. Was it Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so it's like the longest gap between shows since Kenobi.
Yeah, and in some
Crazy.
ways, it's crazy. You know, we're spoiled at times because we get so much Star Wars, and then we don't. And then it's like, well, this was just kind of normal before Disney bought it anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, that does kind of almost make it more exciting well, I mean, it definitely makes something more exciting when like I'll be way more pumped in December when it comes out, and like excited to see it and just kind of happy to have some Star Wars, because it'll have been a bit between then. But it's up to you to keep the daily need, like that daily need of Star Wars stories.
Yeah. Keep feeding the Star Wars stories.
Yes. Well, we can continue with talking about some of the other projects. We can come back to Skeleton Crew if we think of stuff, because I definitely was thinking about something and then I forgot, so now I'm sad. But that's how it goes in the streaming world. But just in general, I mean, whenever you're like, oh, I have something to say, and then you forget about it, it's the worst feeling. But
Yeah, I get it.
yeah.
So what is next on your list? Is it Mando and Grogu, or is it Andor?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Maybe we can talk about Andor first, because I haven't seen the trailer yet. I haven't really seen much for it. Maybe I saw a couple screenshots, if anything. But from what you've seen, like, what did you see? I guess if you can describe it.
It looks like you're really kind of coming to the head of the rebellion. Kind of like, I feel like what we're gonna get. Like, I feel like season 1 of Andor is comparable, like, to the comparable in terms of how wide the story goes. I think season 1 of Andor is comparable to season 1 of Rebels, because they both take place, I think, the same year.
Okay.
Ezra's message and Marva Karasi's message are same year, so 5 years away from Yavin or Scarif. So I feel like, similar to Rebels, what you're going to get is, moving into the next season, things are going to progressively heat up. We got confirmed that director Krennic's going to be in it. We're getting.
Yeah, I saw your tweet for that. That's definitely a plus for me. That's a plus.
He's seriously. I think Krennic's actually my favorite Imperial officer. Like, he just hits the mark for me. But
it's a good one.
Yeah, I think they're gonna just. I think it's gonna be a bit faster. I think it's gonna be still slow. Like, I think it's gonna still be kind of the way the first season was, but I think it's gonna be faster. Faster and more intense, as George always liked to say.
Yeah. And I mean, the one I will say, I haven't seen the newest stuff, but what I've heard, and I think this was confirmed, but for it to be faster, so how it's broken up, if I'm not mistaken, is into 4 3-episode arcs, right? And then it will jump a year in between, kind of. So I'm curious, kind of like that. I think I vocalized this because somebody mentioned it on a gaming stream I was on. I was like, yeah, I think that might work better for me personally. That maybe I wasn't as big of a fan for season 1. I'd like to think it's not because I have a low attention span, but a shorter, more jam-packed arc might win me over a little bit more with that, though. And honestly, I mean, that also does freshen things up a little bit, because, like, let's say, well, maybe I'm not vibing as much with one arc. Well, it's only 3 episodes, whereas like some of the beginning stuff are in, or it's like, okay, this is stretching like 6+ episodes now for some things that maybe were a little bit slower in some areas for me. But ultimately, a lot of them did pay off. But I think that'll be fun, though, to like see it more in depth and just kind of. It sounds like we're getting what I like was looking for in the first place, which I think I came into Andor a little bit too close-minded. So I'm gonna try to go into season 2 a little bit more open-minded.
Yeah, that makes sense. I definitely get where you're coming from because there were some episodes where I was just like, yeah, okay. I do like the scale because like everything like so much of Star Wars is like larger scale kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
a Star Destroyer is very commonplace, but like in Andor they kind of made like a TIE fighter terrifying. I really like that, and I kind of hope they continue that kind of aspect of it. Like stormtroopers were these elite forces that you see not that often. Like they show up when the Imperial army can't handle it. So like they show up as these like special forces on Ferrix. So
Yeah.
I think continuing that kind of thing would be really cool. But like you said, I think the three episodes per year really will, I think, propel this to be like almost like feel like a quick season,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and I'm excited to get into like what because I think the thing that I was like, I've learned it's not a good idea to go into shows with like things to check off, and I think the thing that was like, all right, my number one was like, all right, this is a show. Obviously, Cassian Andor is big into he's one of the big rebel players. Well, we didn't really get to see any of that. I mean, he did things for the rebellion, but he wasn't a rebel till the very last episode. Like he didn't actually join to the end of it. So I felt almost like, well, I wouldn't have mind like maybe half the season is him getting to it, and then we get into some missions. So if anything, it was like, well, I thought the whole point of this was to see some of that. So now that I know, I mean, we're going to be obviously getting that. I'm sure I'll have more of a fun time with it anyhow.
Yeah, and I think season one of Andor is like a prelude. I saw a tweet today, and I thought it was really interesting. It was today or yesterday. I
Hmm.
saw a tweet that was really interesting, and it was like if Clone Wars came out like this year, like never came out before, if Clone Wars came
Yeah.
out this year, they probably would have canceled it after season one. And I was like, that's an interesting concept because we all see Clone Wars as like one of the great shows of Star Wars, if not greatest. And
Hmm.
so it makes me wonder, like what we might miss out on um in the circumstance that a show gets cut short. Like
Yeah.
I think Andor season 2 really could be like some of the best piece of Star Wars media possible. Um but I don't think that would be possible without like that prelude, like that establishment so you can really understand each of the characters, each of their traumas. Like I really feel like you know how like the tech scroll at the beginning of Star Wars, you know how they made Rogue One out of a tech scroll? I
Hmm.
feel like Andor season 1 was a tech scroll. Like they made an entire season of a show out of a tech scroll. And even I would say the same about Acolyte actually. I would say Acolyte's very similar to that. That
Hmm.
like if they do go forward with a season 2, it's going to feel like season 1 was like this prelude, like this thing that you didn't really need, but it adds so much depth for everything that comes after,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just makes sense, and you are getting me more excited for Andor season two. I admit, yeah, that does definitely make sense, and I mean, for just a lot of the shows I've watched that have a lot of seasons, it really is like that, and I think part of the problem, I wouldn't want to admit it, but I think it's just current culture in general with TikTok, yada yada. Like we're so like we need instant gratification on so many things these days that like that kind of it's there. I mean, even on YouTube and stuff, like some certain formats have changed, but like Game of Thrones, it is definitely a slow build at first that really becomes really great towards the middle and end of it with so much kind of like payoffs and all that. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'll I'm definitely I'm definitely excited knowing that where we left off, it's like, okay, we're kind of like all set up, kind of ready to go. I know kind of everyone in the story and who are players. Now I'm ready to see some of that meat though. All right. But
Yeah,
and
and
there were
I really
yeah. Well, I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say there were I'm not gonna like totally say like, because there was in season one there certainly was episodes where I would consider it meat, like the arc that ended where it was like the money heist arc. I really liked that end of that last episode. It was visually amazing, which Andor did great all throughout, and then obviously I mean the prison break too. So um but yeah, what were you saying?
Oh no, I was just gonna agree. Like I really think that that meat that you're talking about is definitely gonna be a lot more present in this next season. I think it's going to be very juicy
Yeah,
because he's
good.
a rebel now. We know
Yeah.
he's a rebel because, like
Mhm.
you said, like literally up until the last 5 minutes of the show, the
Yeah.
entire season, like you're just building up to that last 5 minutes, and he's like, "Go ahead, kill me," and he doesn't get killed, obviously, because we've seen
Mhm.
Rogue One. But like, you know, he's gonna be a rebel this entire show. It's not like he's gonna be, just casting Andor on
Mhm.
Narkina 5, or he's gonna be full blown rebel,
Yeah.
and I think that's gonna pay off extremely well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that for sure, and see a different perspective too of and see how they can maybe connect some of those similar events we've seen with like Rebels, the show itself. See what else is going on that leads to the rebellion and how they become so strong. I guess. Yeah. Well, strong in heart. Um,
Dude,
I
I would love to see Harrison Dula appear in the show. I know that's wishful thinking, but I would love to see someone
yeah.
from Rebels make an appearance.
See, yeah, and that would make sense. And we have precedents now that we've seen her in Ahsoka, so just a matter of if it would work, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what's up, gamers? Thrawn's a pinball wizard. What does that even mean?
I think it's an Elton John song or like a Led Zeppelin song or something. I don't
Okay. Well, you would know if that's the case, but yeah. No, I'm certainly open-minded and excited for Andor season 2, and if it ends up being some of the best that there's ever been, well, um, those those that I've maybe not to say combated. I'm talking about stay on target. It's kind of a meme over there that everyone likes Andor over there, which I mean, yeah, I can see it. I just state my reasons similar to like what I was saying. That I'm excited about Skeleton Crew is like Andor clearly feels like a more adult themed focused show, which isn't necessarily the problem. It just felt a little too much like kind of wannabe HBO like. But it wasn't necessarily that. It was more so the elements of Star Wars itself, as far as like I wasn't there wasn't the Force and that kind of stuff. But I'm starting to become more open minded in that. Well, maybe that's not necessarily as important as I once thought, and it does become more fresh to get just different stories in general. But like specific problems though is like, okay, well, there was like a lack of aliens or familiarity in that regard. Like it's like I would still like to see more like continuity, right? Like some of those things were like, okay, well, it's high quality, the acting's great, but sometimes I felt like I wasn't watching Star Wars. That was really my only like problem with it.
Yeah, I do get that because like I think a perfect opportunity to have an alien species was when they were doing that heist. I think that's a perfect place to do it. Or even on Narkina 5, they're all people, and so I definitely get what you're saying because like there were a couple times where I was watching this, I was like, am I watching Star Wars? Because like you see a TIE fighter fly by, and you're like, okay,
Mhm.
that's Star Wars, but then like there's like no aliens in a couple shows, and you're like, okay, like the big universe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, it's like ultimately that's not like the what makes or break a show. That's not going to be the main thing, but it still things. It's like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that, like seeing a Twi'lek here or there, or just something I'm a little more familiar with. While still, I'm not saying to do this or that. It's just like sprinkle in a little bit and take the reins with what you kind of did, but pretty nitpicky for me here a little bit right now. But in any case, I'm hoping for just they take what they did good in Andor season 1 and make it even better, which from what I've heard sounds like it's gonna be fun. And that's gonna be so Skeleton Cruise December 2025. So will that be like first quarter 2025?
Yeah, it should be the January. It should be like right after Skeleton Crew ends, I think. Like I'm
Wow.
sure they're gonna drop it like a month or two at most after Skeleton Crew. I hope they don't do the thing they did with Mando season 3 where it's competing with something else. I don't
Hmm.
think that's really fair. It's kind of like
Yeah.
putting Solo up next to
Yeah, don't
Infinity
do that.
War. It's like don't do that.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy one thing and then go to the next thing. Because it's like a little bit whiplash. especially in the different eras too. If you're going from New Republic to the Empire, it's like, all right, this is happy, that's depressing, you know.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, definitely, definitely. um, well, that's wild to think of. It's okay. It's like, all right, we got a big gap here, and then we're just gonna be back on that new show. So we struggle by a bit now, and then we get a lot more content.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. But that I mean, it's not that far away. So yeah, I'm curious how that all wraps up. All right, let's talk about Mando and Grogu. That's probably of the things, me personally, I put a poll like, what are you most excited for? It's definitely what I'm most excited for. Like personally, I think I'm excited for everything, obviously, but of the things that Disney has published so far, like for me personally, The Mandalorian has like been my favorite. I think overall, just from a standpoint of like, it captured a lot of like it hit me with the feels like nostalgia. Just season 1, episode 1, just right away. Just it's not like a super complex story, but it does everything I'm kind of looking for, and it's not extremely serious, but it's still somewhat serious when it needs to be, and just kind of a fun time. So to take those elements and put it on the big screen, in my opinion, that's like the perfect combo. And from the little snippets, which doesn't even make sense that they have anything even ready, because I think they're filming right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But like, okay, return of walkers on the big screen. Like, let's see some fun action. Like, heck yeah. What do you think?
I'm actually like really excited. I've been pretty clear. I personally like Mandalorians don't resonate with me. So like Mandalorian itself wasn't like my favorite show ever. I like it. But like Satine will always be my favorite Mandalorian. So that's kind of, if you catch my gist, that's why I'm a little apprehensive about the show. But the trailer had me blown away. I wholeheartedly believe that Star Wars belongs on the big screen. Like I love the shows. The shows are great, but like Acolyte should have been on the big screen. Kenobi should have been on the big screen. Like these shows should be on the big screen so that we could go to the
100%.
movies and watch them. Like Star Wars is such a community thing. I'm gonna get sidetracked for a second, but like Battlefront 2, 2017. Like you know how much the community like needs a co-op game or online game so that we can play with other people. Like we're dying for it.
Yeah.
So my point being, Star Wars is a community thing. So now that that's out of the way, I'm actually super excited for this. The trailer hype, Zeb Aurelius
Yes,
on
let's
the
go.
big screen, hype. I have to say I don't think that's Mandalorian's Razor Crest. I know it like I know he kind of had his midlife crisis with the N1 Starfighter. You know, every dad has to go out buy the Corvette. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But but I don't think that's his Starfighter. I don't think that's his Razor Crest. I think that's Zeb's Razor Crest, honestly.
Okay.
And I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna tie in, honestly, like what we were talking about earlier with Skeleton Crew. I think this one's actually gonna tie into probably the Dave Filoni movie that they're working on.
Yeah.
So it's gonna set up what leads into that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they confirmed that there's 3 movies coming out that year. I don't know what they're cooking. I know Rey, I know Mando, Grogu. I don't know what the other one is.
Is that the Dawn of the Jedi potentially?
I think that's what it is. There's another movie that's in the works. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's
like a marketing issue.
Yeah, yeah. That to bring it back though, I do just want to clarify. Yes, Star Wars on the big screen. I love going to the movie theaters, and Star Wars belongs on the movie theaters, and it also is just a great way to bring people together. And it's kind of the fun. It's so fun, like the build up, like you're in the theater, like just kind of getting excited with family or friends, like predicting what's gonna happen, like we're doing right now, but in person with sometime. Like at a very minimum, I try to bring a lightsaber, but for that I might be fully dressed up. Who knows? We'll have to have to see. But I think it's also just like, I mean, any of these shows could have been movies, and I think they would certainly have been better. for me personally, I think that this is just such a good move with, I mean, Grogu and Mandalorian is so popular, but it's beyond that. I think it really will capture a lot of those elements to be just a absolute knock out of the park. Like my early predictions, I've already said this, but I think that this movie will crack a billion, like easily.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be honest. Like I saw this movie 7 times in theaters. Okay, I like going to the movies too. Okay, I'm obsessed.
7?
I get up 7 times. I'm obsessed. I'm
Nice.
obsessed. But like, I obsess over things, and like, I want to go to the movies,
Mhm.
bro. If the Star Wars admin pops in the chat, put it in the theaters. I'll watch it 7 times. I'll get it to a billion. I promise. I love going to the movies.
Run it up. Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw Rise of Skywalker, I think 4 times. I think that's the
Damn.
most recent I've seen, like, or the most, maybe probably the most I've seen in theaters of something, but 7 times is wild. That's a lot, dude.
Yeah, I got a little obsessed with that movie. I'm not gonna lie. It's a really good movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I love it, but yeah, it's sidetracked. But no, dude, I'm so excited for a Star Wars movie again, and we're getting 3 in the same year, bro. 3 Star
Yeah.
Wars movies. Like,
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun, man.
pinch me, I'm dreaming.
Right. Right. I guess one thing I'm a little curious on, because I think when they first were making these announcements, my kind of thoughts would be, all right, it's going to be a trilogy. At least there'll probably be a trilogy of the Mandoverse / New Republic with maybe this Mando Grogu movie is that introductory one, and then like they announced a while back, Dave Filoni has an Heir to the Empire movie of somewhat. I don't know if that's episode 2 or episode 3. I'm kind of hoping that's almost episode 2. Okay, I it doesn't matter really what they do because I'm gonna be excited, and I'm not trying to be box checking, but I think my initial idea would it'd be fun to have, because in the books there's a lot of these qualities too with the Thrawn books too, but like Thrawn kind of the bad guy right at first, but then in Ahsoka we see them looking off in the distance. We don't there's bigger things out there. Like, okay, we fight Thrawn for a little bit, and all of a sudden there's a bigger common enemy that, okay, in the 3rd movie they have to come together, all of our heroes and anti-heroes, to defeat just the pure evil of the universe. Or whether that's like some kind of ultimate boss, or like a like the Grisks or something like that. That could be really fun in a trilogy, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm excited either way, and I hope the Mandalorian Grogu movie, even if it's setting stuff up, it should have its own arc and just be rewatchable. Just have its own kind of it's got to be an experience. It's just got to be an experience. It doesn't have to be perfect 10 out of 10 acting, it just has to be a fun experience through and through, and just kind of do its thing.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think that is literally the key to it. It's just get it back in the theaters. That's all we need. I mean, I know I get the whole no theaters thing after Solo, which you put it next to Infinity War. What did you think was going to happen? But
Yeah, and speaking of, I don't know if I saw stuff on this, but is there any news? I asked this with a sad face. Is there any news on the?
Alden Ehrenreich said he was excited for the opportunity to do it because, ironically, everything kind of goes together with what we were talking about. But he said that Solo was kind of like what we were talking about with Andor season 1. You're setting him up to be Han Solo.
Yeah.
I would love for them to make a second Han Solo because he's getting close to that age of where Han should be, I believe. I don't know how old Alden Ehrenreich is, but he's getting close to that age. So he's kind of in that Han Solo age range. So I think you got to do it. You got to go back. But there's nothing official. But he said he would love to play Han Solo again. I think Disney should take the risk. I think they should do it. But I think Solo just got bad timing.
Yeah,
bad marketing.
I've expressed that. I really enjoy that movie, other than the 5 minutes in the cave with the worm thing. But other than that, the beginning with the creature.
Oh,
that thing. I've said this story. That was one of the few times I'm oh my gosh, I might have to leave, but I'm happy I stayed and watched the rest of the thing. But
Lady Proximus was certainly something.
Yeah, definitely a character. But as far as the Lando show though, I actually what was the news though? Is it still being worked on?
Yeah, sorry, I thought someone fell through my wall.
Oh my god.
It's just like a war going on in the hallway right now. I don't know what's happening. Um, but yeah, it Lando show's going forward. I know. Donald Sutherland, Sutherland. What's his name? Childish Gambino. I know
Yeah,
he's
Donald
excited for
Glover.
it. Donald Glover. Yeah.
Which he
Called him
really, he
Donald
dropped
Sutherland.
he dropped an album a few weeks ago, like a new album, dude.
Did he really?
Yeah, I really
Wow.
like it, dude. I really like it. I didn't know for like a week, and I was like, what? Nobody told me? Like, come on. But yeah, I was like, I thought he was kind of done making full on albums, but that was cool to
That's
see.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
no,
definitely check it out
he's
sometime.
excited. I definitely will. But yeah, he's excited for Lando.
Okay, good. Because
I don't know when it's coming, but
I must again. So busy, but I thought maybe I saw something that said like it was like slowing down or something. I'm like, what do you mean? It was just on Twitter, but you know, people say stuff on Twitter that are just completely random anyway. But
I will say, don't trust Bespin Bulletin. That's all I will say.
okay,
They don't always have the most reliable source, and they do like insider stuff. They were
yeah,
I think they were the first ones to break that the Rey movie was canceled, but that obviously wasn't true. So ever since that incident, maybe a little biased, but ever since that incident, I'm kind of like, I don't really want to listen to what you have to say.
yeah,
No.
yeah, right.
If you see it coming from that
But
source,
yeah, Bestman.
be at least skeptical.
Okay. Linus Olmark, that's a good hockey goalie, by the way. It's his last album, Sad Face. That is sad. I didn't think he was making any more albums anyway, so it's a bonus because I thought his last album before that was his last album anyway. But so it's a bonus. That's sad that no more, but I thought that's what he said last time, and he dropped some singles, and then all of a sudden there was a. So I'm sure he'll drop songs here and there. Like I feel like when you're so passionate about something, it's hard to just like fully stop. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Either way, he has so many songs that it's. I mean, man, just revolutionary. He's announced his last tour. Okay, well maybe that's pretty serious then. I hope he's coming. I'm gonna have to take a look if he's coming near me, because that would be, if it's his last tour, man, that would be really cool to see. Man, we've got a little sidetrack here, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Mandalorian Grogu movie. Definitely good, fun. It's coming back to the big screen, and that's supposed to be May of 2026. I could be wrong, or December of 2026.
26 May. Yeah. So I think the way it's gonna go is Mando is May, Rey is December. I don't know where the third one's supposed to go. Maybe like a late summer release. But I just hope, like, I really like. There's a lot going on that year. I know there's
there's some
Avengers movie coming
there's
out.
big Marvel movies like.
Here's my prediction.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna move the two Star Wars movies back into 2027. I think the Rey movie's gonna release on the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and I think they're gonna move Dawn of the Jedi to December.
Okay.
Not even like not even just because I just don't think they want to do the competition thing. I hope they don't. I think that'd be very kind of pointless. But like I think that's my prediction. I think that because we don't know what's going on with Daisy and her health issues, so like they might have to do a prolonged kind of filming just in case. Or I know a couple weeks ago she had just gotten the script and she was looking over it. So I think she's involved with kind of like being like, oh yes, I like the direction of this, or no, I think we should do this. So I think she's pretty involved on that side.
That's good. Yeah, I mean it's basically her movie, so like definitely get her involved, right?
Yeah.
My honest thoughts, my honest take on the subject of like competition and stuff is like, all right, we've had a little bit of a gap now, like between movies. Maybe we don't need to get 3 movies out in 1 year. Like let's focus on like, all right, we get out a solid one, make a good, comeback, and kind of go from there. Like it's good to have stuff on slate, but I don't know. Obviously, it don't have any impact on it. But if anyone's listening, I'm gonna go to any Star Wars movie you release. That will happen, but maybe don't feel obliged to fulfill a release date if like an Avengers movie is releasing in that same month. It's okay to push it back. It probably would make more sense. I mean, it's just the reality of it. Like we don't need that kind of we don't need to pin them against each other.
Exactly. That's kind of like that's why Rise of Skywalker and Endgame did so well because they weren't like right next to each other. Like, I don't think they would have meshed well if they were put next to each other. So
Yeah.
you made a mistake with Solo, just don't repeat it.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. And also, the don't just. I wish they would not justify Solo's low box office for its sole reason for not get because it. Well, don't go off that because you should know that it wasn't its fault. Is it like it's a good movie? I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but I would say that's a good Star Wars movie and definitely is worth exploring. So looking forward to hopefully seeing that Lando show and maybe explore some of those elements we're hoping to. Well, I mean those storylines that were incomplete. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, I guess there's the Lego Star Wars. I just called it on the poll Lego Star Wars What If because I mean I saw Darth Jar Jar in the trailer, so it essentially has got to be basically Star Wars What If at this point.
Yeah, it basically is.
So we weren't wrong with the stream we had probably close to a year ago, or we just talked about Star Wars What If and like they're working on a Star Wars What If show. Well, kinda.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that they're doing it in the Lego format. Um, I think there's kind of like this weird not ambiguity, uh, distaste from different sides of the fandom that kind of don't like the idea of like Star Wars seeming like a multiverse.
Mhm.
I think the what if sides are cool, but I think fans prefer what ifs on a more YouTube side. Like obviously the budget
Mhm.
that Disney has to make like an animated what if is Disney. It's Disney. They have the
Yeah,
budget to do it. But I think generally people are a little bit split on that. So I think
yeah, the
doing
whole
it in like the Lego
multiverse
format,
theory.
yeah, I think the whole Lego side of it, or being Lego focused, I think that gives it more freedom to be as
Mhm.
wacky as you want because it's Lego. I mean, everyone
Yeah,
loves Lego. So
definitely. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, just because in some ways, Marvel had a lot of success. I mean, you know, we've all like, there's been ups and downs or whatever, but like, you don't need to. Yeah, we don't need to like make Star Wars into Marvel, right? Like, Star Wars is. I mean, it's such a big brand. It's got so much to work with that we don't need to like lean on some of these other ideas. We've got so much fun we can have, and the galaxy is freaking infinite in Star Wars. In that, like, there is no reason for a different reality because there's so much unexplored, and all you have to do to create a new timeline, you don't need to. You just go forward 1,000 years, go backward 1,000 years, go to the outer rim, go to the inner rim, a whole new planet. I mean, make a new planet. Like, there's just so endless possibilities of what you can do. So,
yeah,
it's fun though to because I mean, yeah, it is like just actually them playing fun with like Darth Jar Jar is a fun way to kind of stick their nose in that for fun what if idea that everyone's been playing with forever, really.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, if people like it, then they could probably go and do like their own what if series. But at least at the moment, I kind of like that they just started with Lego and kind of test the waters with it.
Yeah. Loki, I've enjoyed some of. I haven't watched all of the Lego Star Wars shows because they have other like Lego Star Wars either like movies or shorts. But I think when I'm like sick on sick days, I got nothing to do. I think that's when I've like watched some of that stuff, and honestly, kind of fun sometimes. Even yeah, like I liked. There was one where I think it was Finn. Somebody from the sequels went to Vader's like castle. Could be wrong. Or
I
no, it wasn't Finn. Was it the
I
pilot?
think it was I think it was Ray. I think
Oh, Ray?
was it? Are you talking about the one where they open up like a multiverse kind of thing and like people start like was it the one where like a bunch of people fell through portals and there were like three Obi-Wans and two Darth Mauls or
I don't.
whatever? Are you talking
No,
about that one?
I haven't seen that one. No, I don't think I've seen that one. That sounds wild.
That one was insane. Yeah. Um, I
Well,
know. I think that was a Christmas special. I'm not sure though.
I'm pulling up Disney Plus right now. Lego Star Wars Escape. Oh, I think it was Terrifying Tales. Be wrong. I maybe. Oh yeah, yeah. It was terrifying. I watched the Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. It wasn't a full-on movie, but I think there was like different shorts in there. But Poe and BB-8, yeah, Poe
Okay.
went to Vader's castle, and that was a fun little idea. Like Vader wasn't there, but there was still like remnants of like evil or whatever. But
That's cool.
yeah. So I mean, it's fun to play around, like maybe things that are like, you know, if you did that in live action, you have so many people like, what? There's no way that could have happened. So yeah, doing it like in Lego does it kind of just, well, you can do whatever you want, you know, like come on, just have fun
Yeah,
with it.
that the benefit of Lego.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think we've kind of generally touched on most things, I would say. Definitely excited. Well, I guess, there's also Outlaws coming out in a bit.
Yeah.
Which it's not a show per se, but Jedi Survivor being a game has some of my favorite, that's like one of my favorite stories recently in the Star Wars universe. So games can deliver great stories too. So curious to see what that story is there. I for anybody kind of watching or listening to the VOD, I'm probably gonna try to stream the beginning of it and kind of see how I feel about the game, and we'll go from there. But yeah, what are you've said, I think you mentioned to me you might start, well, I don't want to put you out there, but you might start playing games a little bit more, streaming potentially. Any plans there, or?
Yeah, I just gotta get back into the swing of things. But yeah, definitely on the list of things to do. I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch, on the Twitch side of things, to get ready for the drop of, just to make sure everything on the setup works really well, and
Okay.
then make sure I'm ready to go, and then
Yeah.
hop into Outlaws.
Sweet. Yeah, man. Well, if I don't end up fully purchasing the game, I might be one of your viewers there to get the story. Get the story in. All right. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
sweet. I think we've covered just about everything. I mean, just kind of like a more impromptu stream. My bad on a couple scheduling things, but you know, it's busy times out here. We'll make we'll stream again soon. It's kind of up to us, you know, to kind of keep the predictions going as fans. Just also you out there. When I say us, I'm saying everyone, just fans. Just have fun with Star Wars. You know, have good discussions with your buddies. I mean, heck, half the time I'm talking about Star Wars, this is really what's going on when I'm on the phone with someone or catching up. This is really a lot of what's happening. But yeah. Yeah, well, that's gonna wrap it up. Excited for Skeleton Crew and everything else that's coming after that. Star Wars back on the big screen, and yeah, make sure to go check out Anthony's channel. Link in description. Peace out, everyone.
See you guys.